Hey, how's it going everyone? In today's video we'll be looking at the Callisto Protocol, a game based on the Dead Space franchise that was dead for quite some time. So rather than waiting for EA to bring it back, a new studio decided to take the reins with a spiritual successor. The Callisto Protocol is an upcoming third-person survival horror game from newly formed developer Striking Distance Studios. While a Dead Space remake is in the works at EA Motive, we're still excited about the Callisto Protocol since it seems to be a healthy mixture of new and familiar, with veteran talent behind it. Striking Distance, the developer, has finally shown gameplay for the Callisto Protocol, but there's still a lot left to reveal. We do know it's inspired by Dead Space, meaning it will be a third-person survival horror game. The developer's goal is to create the most terrifying game on the next-gen platforms, so this game will likely lean away from action and towards survival instead. We should expect to scrounge for supplies while being encouraged to run from enemies as opposed to mowing them down Rambo style. Based on the announcement trailer, it doesn't seem like the player will have much to fight back with, but this might evolve over the course of the game. Since you're playing as a prisoner, you'll likely have limited resources at the start of the game. In Dead Space, the main character was an engineer who used his plasma cutter as a weapon against the deadly necromorphs. In it, you were able to dismember enemies to slow them down. And from what I could see in the gameplay footage shared by the developer recently, the player can use weapons to dismember enemies, slowing them down or even killing them. I also noticed that the player can use some kind of telekinetic energy to move enemies around. I didn't see it as an effective mechanic to use against enemies because the only time it was used in this first scene was to bring an enemy up close and then return them back to where they were. But other than that, the combat seems fine. It looks scary but not to a degree where it's uncomfortable. Other than the ranged weapon the player uses, it looks like we'll be able to use melee weapons against enemies, which makes perfect sense. The game does give the feeling that its world will be short on supplies, so having a melee weapon to use against enemies seems like a great idea. The game does show that the player picks up Callisto credits when an enemy is killed, so we can take a wild guess and say that this is the game's currency, which can be used to buy weapons, upgrades, or other items used to heal or power up the player. In the second scene of this footage, the player has an armor suit that looks like something yanked from the Dead Space games. I won't complain if they pull it off better than the original, but for the meantime, I guess we can say that the suit design lacks originality. Then we see the player using telekinesis to throw an enemy into a huge fan with sharp blades to kill them. If the telekinesis is something the developer wants to be an important mechanic, they will have to diversify the areas in the game by including a lot of traps that can be used against enemies. This gameplay footage did not show off a lot of enemies, by the way. They only showed off the same enemies, the mutated prisoners. Another thing that looks like it was taken from Dead Space without needing to remake it was the heads-up display, or HUD for short. The HUD seems to be displayed in-game instead of having it as a layer displaying on top of the game. This is nice but not a new innovation. A lot would say that this feature is the most not broken feature that can be presented in a game, so there's no need to try and remodel it or fix it. Something that can be added to the game to make it more replayable is an extended skill tree and a huge leveling system. By this I mean the game can include a skill tree that we can spend hours trying to fully unlock to make the gameplay easier. And it can also include a lot of armors and armor upgrades along with a bunch of new weapons. I think the game can focus on the melee aspect more since it looks like it's promoting scarcity of items in game. Your overall goal in the Callisto Protocol is to escape the Black Iron prison and uncover its terrifying secrets according to the official website. While this will be the driving force of the game in general, you'll likely have other smaller scale objectives to complete as you work on your escape. I think the labyrinthian prison design will likely come into play here. The Callisto Protocol takes place during the year 2320 in a prison called Black Iron. The Callisto is one of Jupiter's moons, serving as the setting for this adventure. Interestingly, this game was originally set in the same universe as PUBG, but in May 2022, Schofield confirmed this idea was crap. And we do know for a fact that this game is a single-player survival horror game and will not feature online multiplayer components. Considering that Striking Distance wants to stick close to the mechanics of Dead Space, this isn't surprising. The main goal of this game is to give players a scary single-player adventure, harkening back to the likes of Resident Evil and Dead Space while looking like a fresh, modern game. It's currently slated to launch on December 2nd, 2022. Since a release date has been officially confirmed for the Callisto Protocol, it's now available to pre-order. There will be multiple versions, including a Day 1 edition and a Digital Deluxe edition, across PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X or S, and of course PC. It's unclear what will come in the deluxe editions, but pre-ordering on PlayStation gives players access to the Contraband Pack, which comes with extra in-game goodies to help you along your journey. In addition, a collector's edition will be made available to pre-order in the US and Canada at GameStop and EB Games. It comes with a limited run steelbook case, comic book, and ultra premium collectible statue, but it isn't available to pre-order just yet. It's worth noting that the company had a number of vacancies as of March 31st, 2022, which could mean development is behind schedule. We wouldn't be surprised if this one slipped into 2023, but for now, expect to play it just in time for the holidays this year. Oh, this is it for today's video. Let me know what you think about the game, or if I've missed something down in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, get subscribed for more daily content, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new one. Enjoy.